I'm making another road trip, and every time I do that, inspiration hits. So I apologize for the road noise. Hopefully it's not too bad. I've been thinking about addictions and our trauma-based behaviors, and how we define ourselves based on our behavior, but that is not actually our true identity. Behaviors are formed from our trauma, and every person, every human being has basically been inducted into trauma coming into this world. It starts from birth. Birth is already a trauma that we're just not aware of, and it's one trauma after another, and these traumas shape our soul, our psyche, and thus our subconscious and unconscious behaviors. And as I mentioned in the opening, I was thinking about addictions. Addictions come in many different forms. It can be substance addictions, food addictions, sex addictions, gambling addiction, and spiritual addiction. It is the unconscious activity that we engage in to distract ourselves from our deeper issues that are generally rooted in rejection and abandonment. And because we have experienced abandonment and rejection so much in our lives, we have become avoidant, even to the point of trying to avoid ourselves, our core soul identity. And the reasoning behind that, if we can put a conscious reasoning on it, is because when we look at abandonment and rejection, our response, our reasonable response is, if the people who loved us the most abandoned us, what is wrong with me? We never think about what is wrong with them, but we think about what is wrong with me. What kind of a creature am I that deserves to be rejected and abandoned? And this reasoning goes very, very deep into the unconscious and into the subconscious. And so we spend all our life avoiding ourselves because we too don't want to be associated with that creature that has been abandoned all of their lives. And so we avoid self. And my choice of addiction was religion, spirituality, Christianity, and Jesus. I escaped into Jesus. And I escaped into a world of the imaginary friend and companion, because I couldn't be with anybody else. I wouldn't be with anybody else because of the rejection and abandonment I have experienced in childhood. It's become a pattern. And so, because I couldn't be with anybody else, then I chose to be with Jesus. And Jesus was safe. He comforted me. He validated me for who I was. At least the imaginary reality that I have had created Jesus to be. He was my best friend. And he helped me through life. But he did not help me resolve my core trauma. I used Jesus as an escape from myself, avoiding my issues. But I had a soul awakening in 2019 when I encountered my twin flame and the twin flame connection and experience. And that brought all of these deep issues inside of my soul to the surface for me to look at and no longer avoid. And in order to do that, I had to let go of Jesus, just like one would want to let go of any other addiction, because the addiction is not the solution. We have to go to the core of our avoidance. Why we avoid ourselves. Why we avoid validating and accepting ourselves. That has to be worked through. And as I have done so, of course, my need for Jesus has fallen away, just like your need for alcohol or drugs would fall away, because you're healing on the inside and you're experiencing wholeness and completeness, and you no longer have to avoid yourself. You can now love yourself and experience validation, acceptance, and love for yourself, and eventually you become that. And with that, you become whole, and addictions generally fall away. And that's been my experience and my story. And this is the main reason of why I let go of my Christianity, of my faith, of my relationship with Jesus, because it is no longer needed at a deep psychological soul level. I am now completed in the Christ consciousness. So I don't need a mediator. I don't need a succorer to succor me through life. I have found the I am Christness in myself, which is my strength and my wholeness. So no more addictions. I'm just addicted to myself now. I don't have to run away from myself anymore. And it's the goal. It's the goal that every human being eventually will have to go for. You are the prized pearl and the treasure and the soul that was lost. And you are the one that has to reclaim it.